Hi everyone. The batteries in my cordless drill are no longer holding a charge for more than about 12 screws. I've decided to replace the batteries and take photographs as I did this. I hope it'll help those of you who need to replace your cordless drill batteries be inspired to work on this yourself, instead of going and buying another cordless drill if the drill is otherwise working fine. I started off by looking at the batteries inside of the drill and reading the label on them. What I was looking for was the type of rechargeable batteries that it used. Then I went onto eBay and mail ordered 16 of the same type of batteries from an Asian country. The reason I ordered them from an Asian country was because of cost. These were far less expensive than if I had bought them here in Canada. The trade-off was waiting about 4 weeks for them to arrive. I also want to highlight that the replacement batteries are rated for 2,200 milliamp hours, whereas the batteries that came with my cordless drill were only 800 milliamp hours. So I'm giving the drill better batteries. What I did next was took crazy glue and glued the 16 batteries together in pairs. I had the positive at one end and then the positive at the other end. The same idea as if you were putting two batteries into an MP3 player. The cordless drill is connected in series, so I need to join the positive and negatives together to replace it the same as the positive and negatives are joined together in the original battery. After I finished gluing together the pairs, I applied heat shrink tubing to each pair. I did this to keep them lined up while I was putting them together in their final pyramid type shape. There's only so much space to work with inside the battery housing, so I needed to be very particular with how I join them together, since these would not be the same size and shape as the original batteries. I used my heat gun to apply the heat shrink tubing. After this, I formed the pyramid inside the battery component, and then I confirmed there was the space for it, so I proceeded to glue the heat shrink tubing together in this format. You'll see how the positive and negative ends are beside each other throughout this whole arrangement. It was done this way, so when I got to the soldering stage, I was set up for joining them together correctly. After I had the batteries glued, I wrapped it around 3 times with electrical tape. Electrical tape comes in a number of colors. I just happen to have white electrical tape handy, so this is what I used. Before I did the soldering, I wanted to do one final test fit of the batteries sitting inside the battery component, and I wanted to confirm that there was the space for the wire that I would use for the soldering. here is the one side of the soldering completed. You'll see on the top right the positive end that'll connect to, and the bottom right the negative end that'll connect to. They're hooked up in series, so these two ends have the full power of all these batteries. The reason I used this style of metal was because of how small the batteries are in reality. It wasn't going to be practical to have wire that wasn't exposed when the soldering was made, and I confirmed this with the batteries that I was taking out. The ends and middle of the wire had also been exposed. Here's a look at the other side. So if you look at the top left, it was the first battery that I was soldering. After that, I got into a pattern and found that it was easiest if I held the little piece of wire and connected to the positive terminal first, and then did the negative terminal. Otherwise, the problem I had when I did the top left was I had to keep taking it off and putting it on because it wasn't lining up just perfect for lining up with the positive connection. As well, the positives stick out just a little bit, and so it was a little tricky when I was trying to start with the negative first. After I had the first two joins made, the rest of the soldering was very easy to complete. Following this, I soldered in the wires and joined them to the positive and negative that touches the drill. The end that touches the drill actually was attached to the original battery bank. I epoxied it into place, making careful note of which end was negative and which end was positive. You'll see I've used a white wire for the positive. It's what I had here that was available. The black and white wires here are off of an old extension cord. What I did, or why I did use these, was because inside of it is numerous layers of copper wire, allowing the wire to be flexible compared to, let's say, 14-2 wire or 12-2 wire that you can buy off of a wire rack at a home improvement store. The extension cords made to be flexible. It meant I could put them in here and have a little bit of slack if I ever need to take this apart and replace the battery bank again. It was just going to be too hard having solid wires. The final step is just screwing back together the battery case. The project took about 4 hours to complete and cost me about $20. It was very worthwhile doing. I don't live in the mindset of a disposable society. I would rather repair than replace. I hope this is helpful to you. Thank you for the time that you spent with me today. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.